Hey everybody, this is JB Jeremy, Jeremy89 on Instagram. Want to go ahead and make it known that if you haven't been watching the news lately for sports, you obviously have not really understood the significance of what has happened in college. Big Ten and Pac-12, they've gone ahead and made the decision that right now, college sports of the fall have been postponed to the very earliest January 1st of 2021. What does that mean? Well, it means a lot of revenue is lost. Even if they do have a season in the spring, which already Coach Ryan Day of Ohio State has came out clearly and says the best time to start it would be at the very end of January, so it could be completed before April and the draft. Reason we would do that, 8 or 9 games, get a decent in, even a postseason, is for the following reason. First, at least we get something for the university. Revenue is a big deal. These TV contracts are no joke. The money that exchanges hands for every football team in the Big Ten is $58 million just for having the TV contract. You do that, that is $250 million. $250 million that can go out. And if there's no football, what does this mean for the fall? Well, you have a lot of individual fans who are heartbroken. Tailgating's gone, which means merchandise that's bought at the universities is gone. I mean, it goes everywhere. You look at the draft status of Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence. What does it do? We don't get to see them play. Does it mean people transfer? Does it mean that now, because we have no college football, do we have now professional football on a Saturday? Because I was thinking about this, and I heard it on the radio, but then I thought about it. What if the National Football League, because there, in my mind, is a National Football League season that's going to happen. What if all of a sudden, they already run Thursday night. What if they were able to sneak in a Friday game, 2 Saturday games, Sunday as scheduled, and now 2 Monday night games? Like you have an East Coast Monday night and a West Coast Monday night. Like not just how they do it that first opening week of the Monday night football season. What if they do it for like the first, we'll say the first week, and then like every other week, instead of having just an 8 o'clock primetime game, you have a 7 o'clock East Coast game and a 10:15 West Coast game. You could do that, and I mean, it would work. The NFL might take advantage of that. I think Saturday is definitely an option where you have 2 Saturday games, you have maybe 1 Friday game, you still have your Thursday game. This is a big deal for professional football. They can go ahead and take all the TV spots. So I'm just thinking about that out loud. I'm not gonna think about it too much yet, but I do want to go ahead and do another shout out, even though they lost the game. Let's give a shout out to the CBJ, Columbus Blue Jackets, losers of the 4th longest game in NHL history. 5th overtime. Give the goalie credit. Korpisalo played amazing. He played every which way he could. And I look at it because he had about a .965 save percentage. So what that means is he stopped 96.5% of every shot that came at him yesterday. The leader in the National Hockey League for the regular season, because I'm not going to do the postseason, because right now we get an idea of the postseason numbers. If you have 1 shutout and you've only played 1 game, well then you have 1,000 save percentage. But in the National Hockey League regular season, the leader of the league was at .930. So Korpisalo beat that by .35 points. He dominated last night. He played amazing last night. He stood between the goal for 150 minutes. And he just happened to have 1 bad break where a puck hits Gavrikov, bounces right to a shooter. Shooter takes it. 1/10 of a second sooner, it's a save. And we blow a whistle there. They clean up the rink a little bit. and we go from there. But what ends up happening there is it goes in the net, and we all kind of look, oh man. But to know that we get to watch that game, to know that we were sitting at our home or at a restaurant or anywhere to watch that game, it's something that you can take with you and bring it into other things. I now get to say I watched the fourth longest game in hockey history. I saw one player play 65 minutes and 6 seconds, I believe. So let's put it this way. He played essentially an entire regular season game, the 5 minutes of overtime that you get in a regular season game, and he skated like the additional 6 seconds to go take a shootout shot. He played unreal. Most minutes ever on the ice in NHL history. Korpisalo now holds the save record for an NHL game. Most saves in a game in NHL history. It's exciting. It's special to know that we were getting to watch that. Would have been nicer again if we had seen them win, but hey, what are you going to do? It's the first time ever also in NHL history that another game got postponed because one game was taking too long. So, hey, there's first for everything in hockey. And it was exciting to watch. One other shout out that I would like to go ahead and give right now is for Damian Lillard, Dame time. He had the greatest bounce of a shot that he took in NBA history. I mean, there is a shot that I remember with the Boston Celtics, this was like in the late 60s, where Don Nelson, yes, the same Don Nelson who was one of the longest tenured coaches, or I shouldn't say longest tenured because it seemed like he was at a lot of places, but what it comes down to is the following things. It comes down to the fact that if you look at a few things that go on here, this shot, it bounced 25 feet high. And I'm looking at it when I was watching the replay, and I'm like, why are they still showing this? It's like they're going to show so-and-so get a and like that's what happened. Because I was like watching it, I had time to think like, oh, who's going to rebound this? And then I'm like, all right, who's going to rebound? And I'm looking at the shot. And if you haven't seen it, just type into YouTube about Damian Lillard and put crazy shot against Dallas Mavericks. He scored 61 points in the game too. So everything about it has been great. The bubble for the NBA is doing great. Hopefully it continues because it's been some great play. I'm not really necessarily going to say that I agree with all the calls that have been made in some of the games, not just by refs, but coaches too. But hey, it's been fun to watch. Finally, I want to go ahead and say if you are bored, because I get bored too, I want to give really a great shout out right now to the NHL again for having a Seattle-based pro sports year-round. I know we've got baseball and the Mariners there and a great team in the Seattle Seahawks and Pete Carroll leading the charge for them as well as Russell Wilson. But the fact that they now will have the Seattle Kraken, an NHL team in Seattle here in the next year, it's going to be very special. The town deserves it, especially for how they lost the Seattle Supersonics to going to Oklahoma City Thunder. If you haven't ever checked it out, there is a documentary which I think you can find on YouTube. It's called Sonic Gate, and it talks about the Seattle Supersonics and how long they were there and the great things that came with that franchise. So if you really want it, it's about an hour and 50 minutes, but it's really good to hear the people of Seattle as well as the players from Seattle talking about how the franchise was sparkling, goes into where their highest point of high wasn't just that they won a championship in, I think, 1979, but also the fact that they, made it to the 96 finals. And I know you see a little bit of that in The Last Dance with Michael Jordan saying, oh, Gary Payton couldn't guard me. Just watch this version to see how they talk a little bit about this, but also see the fall of a franchise. See, like, the things that went wrong there. I just feel like Seattle is a town that gets overlooked. People say in that town it rains 15 minutes every day, and I've been to Seattle. It's a beautiful city. I've enjoyed it. I also got to go to Mount St. Helens, and I got to understand a little bit more about Seattle and Pacific ways and values, and really just understanding a lot more about it. I even got to whitewater raft there. But Seattle Kraken, we'll see how they do. Maybe I get a new hat. Again, Texas A&M, and I already told the reasons in the other video. But until I talk to you next time, which will be sooner than later, but not too soon because I've already done a few videos today. This is JB Jeremy, JB Jeremy 89 on Instagram. Stay safe, everyone.